click on New, and that opens the dashboard layout designer, and we have different types of graphs that we can produce. We can also produce some tables. We have a pivot table, we have grid, or otherwise we have charts, we have pies, we have gauges, we have scatter charts, and so on. So we have different types of layout that we can create, and we have different sources as well. We have on the left hand side all FMEA record sources. We have something specific to the courses, and we have something more specific to the action. So we stick, say, to the causes, and then we choose the chart. So we choose the chart, and that creates this column in the middle where we have to basically extract the pieces of information that we want from this list and map it to other values or argument and see what the result is. So we take, for example, the causes, the property failure causes, and we attach it to the values, and we take the failure modes and we put it as an argument. So this produces this chart, and how we're going to read this information. So basically we're trying to say that for a failure mode, for a specific failure mode, reservoir cracked, we have 3 specific failure causes. For others instead we might have a ratio of 1 to 1, or others 1 to 2. It's not really a very informative piece of information because we don't know what the causes are. Obviously we could find that information on the XFMEA, on the FMEA itself. So, but if we wanted to, say, modify this chart, say we could go, say, on here, we click on this icon, and here we can see we can have bars, we can have points, we can have dots, we can have lines, we can have areas, say, so we can have points, we can have bubbles, whatever we want. So we go back to bar, which is more suitable to represent what we are trying to put on the screen, and we click on this third window, or this third tab, and we want to put the content in view. We want to select the argument and the value, and we click OK, and we leave it like that, although we could put it inside like we've seen in one of the layout. Okay, so that represents that information just basically reported at the top. And say that, for example, we want to change the color, perhaps to distinguish what are the one with 3, the one with 2, and the one with 1. So it's not really much use for this type of diagram, but just to show how we would do it, we would go about doing something like that. So we go down to add former rule, and we go on to color range, and say we select three colors, but obviously we don't work in percentages because these are not percentages. So we just put in the numbers, and that's 1, that's 2, but we have to change this because it's not greater or equal, but it's greater. And we do apply, and we see the color. If we don't like the colors, say for example we want that to be red, and that to be orange, and that to be green, and again we apply and we click OK. So it creates the first diagram. Whether it is useful for something or not, that's perhaps a different matter. But if we wanted to add something else, say we want to add a pie, obviously that squeezes the window where we have the information, but if we wanted to maximize it, we just click on this icon and just enlarges the image. But say for example we want to, so we are now on to this pie, again we have value and argument to map, and say we're going to select the property cause as a value and perhaps the item as an argument. So let's create this pie, and how we're going to read this pie? Well, we have items, so these are the items, there are 7 of them, and there are also causes, and it tells me basically the percentages. Here it gives me the number. There are 3 causes associated, for example, to the reservoir, which represents 16.67% of the total cause used in the FMEA. So again, it's not really much piece of useful information, but perhaps what we can do, we can shift this property from argument to series. By doing that, we have now 7 pie, 1 relating to each item, and perhaps we want to get some different types of information as an argument. So we take the risk reduction. So we take the risk reduction in percentage, and so we've had some color, so it looks a little bit more interesting now. Let's maximize to understand a bit more what it means. And so if you take the reservoir again, we have three failure modes, and three failure causes, and in fact they are split on 33.33% each, and we can see that we have a risk reduction of 28.6, 40% and 55%. It tells us basically there have been some risk reduction on some of these causes, but we don't know anything about what causes these are, and obviously we could go back to the XFMEA and investigate, or we have a possibility of exploring it further onto this diagram, and we'll look at that in the third part.